Viewers, the latest news about Ethiopia, Tigray, and Afar region is that viewers, according to the latest reports received by several sources, fighting between Afar forces, its allies, and Tigray Defense Force continues unabated in the northern area of Afar Zone 4. And according to reports, the administration of Afar Zone 4 is deploying more troops to the next, and hundreds of soldiers were seen marching on the front lines. Because in the previous video, I informed you that heavy fighting is going on in the north of Zone 4, and heavy weapons are being used from both sides. And now, reports are being received from several sources that the fighting has captured many more areas and thousands of people are forced to migrate from one place to another. Because millions of people have migrated from recent fighting in Region 4, and there are still fears from several senior journalists that the ongoing fighting in the Afar region will spread further into several more areas. And according to reports, Tigray Defense Force has attacked and fought around 30 areas of Region 4 and 6 districts of Afar region. Which on the other hand, Amhara Fano militia has released a statement about ongoing fighting between Tigray and Afar forces. And the statement has come at a time when Tigray forces are on Afar soil bombing to degrade fighting capabilities of the enemy forces. And in the statement, Fano severely criticized the Ethiopian federal government for suspending military operations. And Ethiopian government last month announced that its forces would not enter Tigray and it halted military advance towards Tigray. But while the Ethiopian government forces decide against entering Tigray, Tigray forces have regrouped and recognized claims Amhara region-based militia. And Fano is calling upon all Ethiopians, especially Amhara, to stand behind Afar forces. And 2 days ago, the Tigray government announced the launching of military operations in the neighboring Afar region. The government accused Afar regional forces, backed by the Eritrean military, of carrying out attacks inside Tigray. And since the fighting is being reported in Abala, Meghala, Birhale, Irbati, and other waridas of Afar, Tigray forces yesterday withdrew from two places in Afar. But the situation is far from being calm on some other fronts. And Amhara Fano militias and Afar forces fought jointly on some fronts during Tigray Defense Force invasion on the Amhara and Afar region last July. And Fano concludes its statement by announcing that its fighters are ready to join fighting on the Afar Tigray border to support the people of Afar. And so far, there is no presence of the Fano militia in Afar to support Afar forces. But if the Tigray Afar border separates, Fano and regional forces could join Afar fighters against Tigray forces. And Afar news sources claim that Tigray fighters have two main objectives behind the new offensive on Afar. 2 days ago, the Tigray government announced the launch of a new military operation in the neighboring Afar region. Since then, intense fighting is being reported between Tigray and Afar forces in several waridas of the Afar region. And Tigray government says it only wants to push Afar and Eritrean forces out of and away from Tigray borders. And Afar news sources, on the other hand, today claim that Tigray fighters are pursuing two main objectives in Afar. It is being said in Afar that Tigray fighters want to take control of Afdira Lake in Afdira Warida, Lake Afdira is located in administrative zone 2 on the Afar region, and rock salt has been mined at Lake Afdira and the surrounding areas of decades. And Tigray fighters are after the mineral wealth of northern Afar, salt, high grade potash and gold, Afar news channel says. And Tigray forces have not entered Afdira, Worida of Afar so far. And fighting is being reported in Woridas situated to the west of Afdira like Irbati, Abala and others. And Afar-based news sources further say that Tigray Defense Force want to take control of Abala Irbati Afdira road. The road joins the strategic Ethiopia-Djibouti road which passes through Afar. And in the past 6 months, Tigray forces have tried more than twice to get to the Ethiopia-Djibouti road, but they could not. And Tigray government denies having any ambition to remain in Afar. It is not clear how deep Tigray forces will penetrate Afar. And tens of thousands of civilians have been displaced from 6 Woridas of Afar within the past few days. And in the coming days, things would be clear regarding Tigray Defense Force real ambition behind the new offensive on Afar. And on the other hand, several statements are coming out from Oromo Liberation Army. The Oromo Liberation Army side has been claimed that they have occupied many areas of western Valija province as well as the areas of Guji province. And according to reports, Oromo Liberation Army soldiers are heading towards several more areas. And the government says that thousands of people have been displaced by fighting in the eastern part of Valija. And in the previous video, I had informed you that Oromo Liberation Army side is claimed that Oromo Liberation Army has launched a massive operation against Ethiopian army in many parts of Oromia region. And the fight between government forces and Oromo Liberation Army has caused many people to flee their homes. And meanwhile, across all three conflict affected regions of the north, more than 9 million people now need humanitarian food assistance, and the highest number so far since conflict erupted in November 2020 between government forces and Tigray Defense Force. Because according to the Tigray Emergency Food Security Assessment, 83% of people are food insecure, and families are executing all means to feed themselves, with 3/4 of the population using extreme coping strategies to survive. Diets are increasingly impoverished as food items become unavailable and families rely almost exclusively on carols. And at the same time, families are having to limit portion size and the number of meals to make whatever food is available stretch further. And in terms of nutrition, 13% of Tigrayan children under 5 and half of all pregnant and breastfeeding women are malnourished, leading to poor pregnancy outcomes, low birth weight, straightening and increased maternal death across the three regions. And more than 14% of children under 5 and almost a third of pregnant and breastfeeding women are malnourished. And recent health screening data shows malnutrition rates for children under 5 were at 28% and far above the standard emergency threshold of 15%. And WFP estimates that on average, crisis affected families in northern Ethiopia were getting less than 3% of their caloric needs in the past months and pushing people deeper into crisis. So viewers, so far the latest update. For more latest update, please subscribe channel. Thanks for watching.